Hello everyone, Bill Parish here from GTT Audio, and welcome to the channel today. Well, here we're with regular guest, Greg Weaver, the audio analyst. Welcome, Greg.
Thanks, buddy. It's been a pretty amazing couple of days, pal.
Yeah. It's Friday. You came in.
You've been stuck with me for 4 days now.
I think I woke up on Tuesday and there you were. No,
pretty much.
I was waiting for you, but yeah, you were in early on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And fellas, there is no one that can listen like Greg and I. We did some marathon listening sessions. I mean, we can log 10 hours a day.
No problem.
We've never had ear fatigue at all.
No, God, no.
We've played everything.
Well, and that's the nice thing. Because of how much time we've had to do this. You know, we did all the audiophile stuff to highlight specific things going on with systems, but. What was nice is us rediscovering some old favorites together and going, do you like that? Oh, yeah, I like that. And then you'll find an original first pressing, clean it, and we go nuts.
Exactly.
It's been big fun, buddy.
So much fun. You know, what I really appreciate about you is that your enthusiasm. For one, I mean, your enthusiasm. Yeah. You're not an old curmudgeon guy that's like, oh, I gotta write this. I mean, you see some of these journalists walking the halls at the shows and complaining and heads down and just dragging ass like they have to be there. You're here because you want to be here. You're not here any other reason except for your enthusiasm and your love for music and audio equipment.
Well, I do appreciate the compliment, Bill. I mean, I've been fortunate enough with my career that I've had a number of other journalists and editors that I respect and manufacturers and people like you who have said, Greg, the enthusiasm leaps off the page. When we see your written work or when we watch you on camera, it's obvious that you're doing this because it matters to you. And I'm so grateful that can come through.
Absolutely.
Not everybody pulls it off, I guess. I don't know. I've seen some dead fish on freaking camera. People that should not be on camera.
I tell you I have something new, and you say, when can I come in?
Yeah.
But
I'm retired. I can be there in an hour and a half.
We have journalists in New Jersey with major magazines. This is our 30th year in business.
Oh, wow.
Who have never been here.
Yeah, well, they're lost, brother.
There's some that I've invited that said, I don't have time to come.
They're lost.
I mean, if you're into this business, if you're into this hobby, if you care about music, how could you not be interested in wondering what GTT Audio has to offer or to be to these showrooms?
Well, these showrooms, and that's, you've been kind enough to let me cover your showrooms on my channel.
You've been coming here since what, 2015?
I think that was about the first time you had me here. Yeah.
For the XV event.
For the XV event, yeah. And I think it was 2000. Well, we'd met at CES a couple of times.
Oh yeah, we knew each other.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the first time that you flew in to cover something here.
It was the Sonya XV event.
Yeah.
And you had, our first really connection, you brought me the Kronos Sparta in 2014, which I ended up doing for Absolute Sound back in the day.
Yeah.
And it's been, what I was going to say earlier when I said thanks for letting me do these rooms is, these rooms, retail stores are kind of a thing of the past. There's a few out there, okay. But for the most part, listening like this is the closest you're going to get to how it would be in your home. And you've got so many different rooms
this is
set
a dedicated demo facility, but it's set up as if...
it's a livable space.
Yeah, as if...
Yeah. Now, this room...
Some of the ladies may argue about that.
This room in particular, we're in the big room today, and this room is, 35 by 21 by 11 and a half, almost 12?
Yeah.
And, I want to hit on this again because we've talked about it offline, but so many people over-dampen, over-treat their room. They put all this crap in, and the room does not sound better.
What live acoustical space where performances are are made and performed, do you have that type of environment?
There none. I mean,
None.
that's it.
None.
That's
So-
the whole point of this. And this room in particular is, I've said it on my channel. Robinson and I have talked about it together. If this is not the best room we've ever been in acoustically and the way it's set up, it is among the very few best that are out there. Nobody's been to every situation, but
Right.
I've been doing this for a few weeks now, and I can tell you, the first time I came in this room, you had me, dude. It was like, holy crap, this is done right.
Well, you, so, like I said, I make a call and you come, and this particular trip,
Oh my God, we had so much.
Greg is here to cover three things. The
Perpetual?
the Kronos Perpetual Turntable, which you've already seen on the channel with Louie and I introduced it, and then
last Easter we all were up in at Louie's to do. I did a feature back then too.
yeah, and then there's the Kronos Discovery Phono stage. So Louie brought this down. And in this scenario, it was you calling saying, when can I come in and hear it? And I said, hang on a moment. We've got something else coming,
Yep.
and let's do all three products at once. But it was you wanting to, and that's what I mean. You're so eager, you're so enthusiastic. The third thing is the Audionet Mach and Schrödinger,
Which was worth waiting for. It was. I mean, it was worth waiting. No question.
Audionet like the back of your hand.
Yeah,
You've had pre-G2 and Max
for
as your
years.
as your reference as reference components in your system for at least
going on 6 or 7 years. Easy.
At least
6 or 7
I
years.
mean,
easy.
but permanent on permanent loans or long-term loans since 2019.
Yeah.
So so Audionet.
And I did the first review on Stern Heisenberg in the U.S.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I did that for Absolute Sound back in 2020. Summer 2020 that published. I got them in 2018. I actually did some beta testing with you.
Yeah.
And we won't go into that. It was interesting. It was very fun. But yeah, the review published in the summer of 2020.
So, we've done, GTT's done a lot of launch events.
Oh my God.
And like with what we did with the Moya in the spring, where
so much
the
fun.
Vivid Audio Moya, we made 6 videos. You made a video. I mean,
you had a whole press corps in for that event. It was a 4-day event, wasn't
exactly.
it? Exactly.
It was a 4-day event. Everyone sort of came at once, and that's how we usually do it. But in here, what we're going to do is space this out over a year or half a year, the first half of the year, and we're going to have different journals and publications come in at different times.
You just decided to screw with my head and make me see it all at once and go absolutely nuts, dude. There's so much. We had so
we're
much
bringing
listening.
you in first here. Yeah,
We had so much fun
with you and the way that you show up, you deserve first crack.
No, I appreciate it, buddy.
So,
Where do you want to start?
So Greg has done 3. We never rehearse this, just so you know.
No,
we
we're
never
just-
even talk about what we're going to talk about.
just old guys babbling.
We just sit down and start talking, and this way you get the real us.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing rehearsed here at all. But so we did 3 videos with Greg.
They'll show up on my channel over the next couple of weeks.
And I don't want to cross all that, but why don't you why don't you give the audience a quick little preview of the Perpetual?
So we started in the studio system with the Perpetual and the new Audionet, but I was focused on the Perpetual because I had been up there at Louie's at his factory and his home studio in April over Easter, and what it proved to me, Discovery was a sui generis product. Everybody who came here to hear it has said so.
Yeah.
Robinson and I and Maurice Jeffries did a 3-piece take on it because we were so convinced that this was a new bar, a new established benchmark that, dude, nobody's come close yet. And I don't see it. Louis came close. We'll get to that in a minute. But, Discovery was such an impressive result. that when it came time to think about replacing Pro, because it was a planned limited edition device. It wasn't going to be like we're just going to keep making them. But when the time came to replace a product in that spot in the line, he gave us Perpetual. And, I've said this, I said it up there, that it was fabulous, that it was so good, it was so close to discovery. Louis said on camera up there that it was 90 or 95% of Perpetual. Now, or 90 or 95% of discovery. Now, I don't know that that's a reasonable thing to say because it sets expectations incorrectly. He was talking among us, but he was on camera.
Yeah,
but it is first and foremost, it is 60% the cost of discovery.
Right.
But let's say it is only 90% of discovery. I think it's more than that now, where it's come.
It's close.
It's come close.
It's more discovery than it is Sparta.
Right.
It's more discovery than it was Pro.
But it is the most gorgeous phono. Yeah. I've never seen a more attractive, sexy looking turntable in my life. Don't get me wrong. Discovery is interesting looking, but I can see where a lot of people might find the aesthetic a little different for them, okay? Because it doesn't look like a regular turntable at all.
Right.
The industrial design combined with what he learned from building Discovery, that what he's put into Perpetual, I want one to play with at the house. I want to get a chance to see how close it comes to my dream. And it's just gorgeous, first of all.
I'll make a note of that.
I figure if I ask you on camera, it's harder to say no.
All right,
but it is such, and the whole thing with contra-rotation to begin with, that alone to me was, I said in the review that it was probably the most significant advance in turntable design in several decades, because that alone, in terms of the things that struck me with that, were the difference in microdynamic resolution, the ability to refine and the refinement and detail you get, the nuance you get in down near the noise floor and things like that. Plus then the openness and clearer timbre it provided through the mid-range from vocals and stringed instruments and especially with mid-band piano. Oh my God. And Perpetual takes Discovery and goes, yeah, let's see how close we can go. Let's just see how close we can get. And it's not cheap, obviously, but at 60%, it represents an incredible value, in my opinion.
It truly does.
I know that sounds odd, perhaps, but there are no turntables on planet Earth that can compete with Discovery. There are none that are going to compete with Perpetual for any near period of time. Honestly, once I put the SCPS on the Pro, there aren't.
It makes a big difference.
There's very few tables out there that can come close to what it can do. So,
all right. Since we're up in the studio and talking about that, you heard two other products up there.
The Mach line stage
from Audionet,
which is half the physical size of
the stern.
And it actually, I think it actually looks a little sexy. I don't know. That profile is just a little sweeter to my eyes. I don't know what it is.
It's a little more of what you're used to.
Well, yeah,
in that size.
Yeah, spatial. It's not as daunting looking. It's not in terms as imposing. Of size. Yeah,
right.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's a piece of equipment. But what kind of knocked me on my butt was the Schrödingers are, again, and it's
these
a
are
weird,
the monoblock amplifiers.
Right. These are the Stern Heisenberg was the flagship Scientist series line stage monoblocks. So now, and I had the Pre G2 and the Maxes. I still have I use them reference all the time. But so you get Mach, which looks like physically half of a Stern, but it's certainly a lot more than half a Stern. The thing that knocked me out, we were up there for a day and a half.
Interesting. That gear, that set is also about 60%.
Yes. It's surprisingly, it's about 60% of the Heisenberg Stern combo, and it's
price-wise.
Yeah. And it's the specs are staggering. Any Audionet amplifiers measure there's nobody
they're
measures the same.
best.
No,
Yeah.
when you just looking at the measurements, and I know measurements alone, they're only a place to start. But when you see what those measurements are, compared to some of these other companies that are selling for a lot more, you wonder why they. Anyway, but it what struck me was it had the same sense of ease and power and control and openness that those have. And I said, I don't know if I've told your audience before, Stern Heisenberg is my desert island. I mean, when I come up with that kind of money, somebody dies and leaves me a fortune, or maybe I go into contract killing and make a fortune that way. I don't know. That's what I'll buy.
I want to be on your bad side.
Yeah. So, but the thing that was shocking to me was how, I won't say they're equal. I don't know that they're not, but I can't say that they are. But the performance was unimpeded. There was no, I could not tell you I wasn't listening to Stern Heisenberg.
Right.
Okay.
It's that good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the effortless, and dude, we were playing some stuff. We played that Bowie track. It was hitting 101 at the chair. No stress, and these were on the spirits.
Yeah, no stress, no ear fatigue.
We've never had any edge, glare, grain, anything from any of the gear in either of these systems that we were listening to. But the thing is, they're 60% of the price, so they're much more affordable to people. And even guys like me who are retired and have to plan, that's a price I could plan for. Okay, the Stern Heisenberg's kind of, it's kind of up there.
It's a stretch.
Yeah.
Well, we had times where people bought a Stern because they could get there.
I knew somebody that bought a Stern first and then bought the Heisenberg.
Well, but the other people that couldn't quite reach to the Heisenbergs, but they're going to be jumping on the Schrödingers. Yeah, and you can mix and match these two lines as well. It's
they're really not lines. They're just different levels, and I mean it's
exactly.
It's like you buy the Corvette with this engine or that engine. It's still a Corvette.
True.
So
that's exactly correct.
Yeah, I mean it's
exactly correct.
Because to me the amplifier is the motor.
Yeah.
In a system, the speakers are the tires.
It's a great analogy.
So,
well, from the studio,
then we went absolutely batshit.
From the studio, we came down here into the big room, and you got to hear really in its final iteration.
I hadn't heard it since Easter last year. Was the last time I'd actually heard it,
and it had made strides since then. But we're talking about the Discovery Phono stage.
Yeah. Look, there are no the experiences we had here over that. There's no way that I can effectively communicate how much we were moved by a couple of particular performances overall. But
yes,
the thing
many, but over many hours. But oh boy, there was a couple that were like.
Speechless. We were speechless.
Greatest experience I ever had in my audio.
That last track, the night before last, was one of those that I'll never forget, dude.
We'll never forget that.
But, that I could describe, transparency, yes. Resolution out the ass. Quiet as hell. Dynamic. Oh, my God. The scaling with this thing is spectacular.
Yep.
The nuance it allows you to hear. The thing that I think the way that might best explain how I feel about this is the sense of absolutely nothing between you and the performance, between you and the recording. That sense of nothingness between the artist and me listening. I've never experienced it in any other system, at any other level, at any other price point, this succinctly. I mean, it was as if we were in the studio with the musicians. We were hearing mic feeds, not recordings.
100%.
This Phono stage, and I said this back in April when I was up at Louis. I put it on Facebook. I said, this is going to be the benchmark. This is going to be the Phono stage that everybody's going to have to compare against. And it's even more true now than it was when I said it back in April.
Right.
I mean, this has been refined. I mean, this thing was 3 years in development?
3 years of R&D and research and trial and error and everything. I mean, it's I don't know how many dozens of step-up transformers they tried. And all custom.
Yeah.
Never one off the shelf. Yeah. So they're making from scratch. And
well, and that's one of the specialties of TLA. They've been making transformers and things since the 20s, right?
Kronos, the Kronos Phono stages are developed in conjunction with TLA. So that's
Louis drove the madness, and Manos made tried attempts to make it work.
Yeah, and ours steered the ship.
Yep. Those guys, they're great people, first of all. But no, this Phono stage, I don't know that. You guys know I usually don't have any problem talking about things, and I don't have there's never a loss for words with the old guy. But there is here. I'm not sure I can adequately explain how freaking good. And, the whole system in this room is like that. And without those other components, Joe's cables.
Oh, yeah.
We would not be able to realize how good this thing actually is.
Yeah, we couldn't hear this without realization and
it's a synergy.
Without AudioNet, without the Vivid Audio Moyas, without this room. It's everything. But, whew.
Yeah, it is.
It delivers.
Dude, it's I've been doing this since I was in single digits. and I got to tell you, this has been one of the most amazing musical experiences ever listening to recorded music in my life. And I spend a shitload of time listening to recorded music.
I know you
I'm
do.
pretty. Now that I'm retired, it's like get out of the old man's way.
You do a Facebook thing every night.
week.
Yeah.
Well, not. Yeah,
well,
it depends.
Yeah.
I used to post pretty regular. I'm down a little bit, but still. But Bill, I can't tell you. I want your viewers and mine to know this is not just a new product. This is Perpetual as well. Same with the Audionet gear, but in particular, this Phono stage is going to. I think this Phono stage is going to frustrate a hell of a lot of manufacturers because.
Well, I think it redefines the product category.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is sui generis, and that's a term that probably is getting overused these days, but it literally means that it's of its own kind. And this Phono stage is so remarkable. Gonna have, like I said, I'm gonna have to become a hitman so I can start buying this shit.
Guys, you should, if you don't already, be sure to subscribe to the Audio Analyst.
Please do.
Greg publishes every Sunday morning.
Every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock.
At 9
I haven't missed an episode in 2.25 years now.
There you go.
A little, not quite 2.25 years.
Greg, we really appreciate you. We appreciate you showing up.
Thanks for having me, brother.
I mean, it's and bringing your enthusiasm.
Try and keep me away, buddy.
Here and in the channel. Well, I mean, we have a lot of fun together, but. But you're your own man, and you have your own taste. And, and we.
Pretty much everybody does, but it's like the thing that is important to me is that people understand and people can see that it's about my enthusiasm and love for music. That's why I do this.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, brother. Anytime,
guys.
you call, I'm here.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.